Lisa, thank you. The American people seem to be having some second thoughts about plans to close the Guantanamo Bay prison camp. How might that affect the president's handling of terror suspects? Paul Begala and Kevin Madden, they're both standing by for our strategy session.
So this is a recreation area.
A new CNN poll has these numbers, and we'll put them up on the screen. Should the United States close Guantanamo, the prison facility there, and transfer prisoners to other facilities? Last year, 51% said yes, 47% said no. But take a look now. 39% say yes, close Guantanamo. 60%, Paul, say no. The president did not meet that end-of-year deadline, January 20th, 21st to be precise. More Americans now say, you know what, keep those prisoners at Gitmo and don't move them to the United States.
Yeah, that's a huge shift, as I'm glad you showed last year, because it's a big shift in public opinion. I wonder if some of it's because of the upcoming trial of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. New Yorkers do not want that trial in their hometown. Mayor Bloomberg said at first he supported having it there, and then he said no. And I think that means that he will not be tried in New York. This is one, and you know I'm not a big fan of bipartisanship, but this is one where I think there's an opening for a bipartisan solution. Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, conservative Republican senator, has suggested that we can close Guantanamo, and he'll support that if the Obama administration does not try KSM, as they call him, in a public civilian court, but instead tries him in a military court. That may be the deal that President Obama needs to get out of this situation and to close Guantanamo.
Is there bipartisan cooperation over the horizon, Kevin, on this issue?
Well, it's very likely that the Democrats will try and seek some sort of bipartisan compromise here, I think, as partly because of political cover. Look, I think Paul will agree with me that national security is much different from the economy. National security is driven by events. The whole debate that we had over the KSM trial possibly being in New York has opened up a debate amongst the American public, and they believe that Guantanamo Bay, as part of that, ought to be closed. So I think what we'll see is that Democrats and Republicans will try to come together on some parts, but I think in a political context, they'll try to come together on the legislation. But in a political context, we're in an election year, and election years are always about the contrast and where we differ. So I think unless there's something that happens in the next few months, we're going to see the Gitmo issue and the KSM trial play out in a political context in campaigns in 2010.
Paul, you're very well plugged into this administration. Based on what you know and what you're hearing, is there a serious split within the administration? On the one hand, Eric Holder, the Attorney General, who wants to close Guantanamo and try these guys in civilian courts in the United States, including Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, versus some of the more pragmatic, shall we say, advisors like the White House Chief of Staff, Rahm Emanuel. Is there a split there?
I think there is, Wolf. I think you're right. Attorney General Holder has said very publicly that it's very important to him. One of the defining issues, he says, of his tenure as Attorney General, to not only close Guantanamo, which is not really his job, it's the President's and the Defense Department's job, but also to try these terrorists in a public civilian court, as happened 300 times under President Bush. But the politics of this has shifted, and those closer to Capitol Hill, on both parties, say, no, we ought to just cut the deal, close Guantanamo, but then try them in a military tribunal. That's why I think Lindsey Graham could be the key here.